this morning's Health Watch, the moment we've all been waiting for this morning, Harry's colonoscopy. It's actually happening right now, live. So we want to take you back now to Katie Couric, who's standing by with Harry at New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center. She and Dr. Mark Pochapin are ready to take us through the procedure. Harry, not going to be able to talk to us at this point, guys.
Well, Harry's actually doing well. He just said to me, Erica, you know, this makes me really happy. So I think the drugs have kicked in full blast. And Mark is in the middle, Erica, of the procedure. Harry, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing great now.
Okay.
But to be able to, you know, sort of come to toward the end of the procedure and be able to talk to Mark, to talk to Dr. Pochapin and say, have him say, this all looks great.
Yeah. The good news is Harry's colon is clean as a whistle, first of all. So you inserted the endoscope all the way to the end of the colon, and the real test or the real procedure is when you check through the camera on the way out of the colon, right, Mark?
Right. What we're doing now is we're looking at all the little folds here. You can see it on the monitor, that as we pull back the scope and we put a little bit of air, and actually we're using carbon dioxide because it gets absorbed very quickly, we could see the intricacies of the colon, see this normal blood vessel pattern. And actually, as I withdraw at this side, you could see there's a little bit of a bluish blush just in the middle. That's actually Harry's liver.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're at what's called the hepatic flexure, which is
hello, liver.
Yeah, not many people get to say hello to the liver. And as I withdraw now, we're coming across the transverse colon. The transverse colon usually has a little bit more of a triangular appearance. You can almost see that as I
look at that.
come back. And actually, what's interesting, there's no bone or cartilage in there. That's all muscle just contracting. And that's what keeps the fluid from coming too quickly out of the body. And the colon's job is really just to remove fluid. It's basically the dryer of the body. It's the sewage system.
And this is just sort of cleansing it so you get a better look. And you also have to look for flat polyps as well. Sometimes polyps protrude out like little warts, I guess, right? But sometimes they're flat.
Katie, what we like to say is they don't always present themselves well.
That's true.
Well, they could be hidden behind folds, or they could be very difficult to see.
I'm a little worried. I told your wife, Andrea, I'd be, you know, if you said anything inappropriate, I'd make sure to.
Yeah, she was afraid I was going to tell too much of the truth.
I want to show you an interesting technology. It's called Narrowband Imaging, or NBI. And what it is basically a blue light that enhances the vascular pattern.
Wow.
And you see you could almost see each of those little dots are actually the glands in the colon. And you could see the blood vessels. If there was a very flat polyp or difficult to see polyp, we have a better way of seeing it. Yeah. Exactly. All right, David.
Now that thing we just passed, that's not a polyp?
Nope, that's just a little residue. The colon will always have a little bit of mucus or residue in it, but you could see how clean the prep works in terms of making sure that we can see all the lining.
About a year ago, there was some controversy that some doctors were missing polyps or flat polyps, and it really came down to the fact that they were doing the procedure too quickly. Is that right, Mark?
That's right. You know, there are certain quality indicators. One of them is the withdrawal time, how long you go from the very beginning of the colon to the end. And the minimum amount of time should be 6 minutes. We strive here, we look at the clocks to be at least 8 minutes. And the longer you take looking around these folds, the better you're able to see these little small polyps or flat lesions. You could see how, if you're not careful looking around these different folds, that things could hide. See how you push forward and you look around these folds here, and then you pull back. And
when you're getting a colonoscopy, you should ask your doctor, how experienced are you and how long do you take to do the procedure, right, Mark?
Exactly.
To make sure you get somebody who really knows what he or she is doing.
The other quality indicators, by the way, is how many times you actually find adenomas. And the baseline standard is 50.
Or cancerous polyps?
Which are the precancerous polyps, the polyps that you really want to find and remove. And the baseline is about 15% to 25%, 15% for women and 25% for men. So they're out there. We just have to make sure we take our time and do a quality exam. Good prep, slow withdrawal, and of course making sure the patient's safety and comfort is always present.
And a colonoscopy should be done every 10 years. You can do a flexible sigmoidoscopy, but that only really views half the colon, right? It's sort of like getting a mammogram on one breast.
Not many people do flexible sigmoidoscopies anymore. If you're already in the colon, you may as well look at the whole colon. There are certain groups, like African Americans, that tend to have more polyps on the right side of the colon. So, you know, it's the best way to look. It's really very straightforward.
And how many feet is this?
The colon's
Remember from biology class? from high school? What is it? Is it 12 or 18?
It's 4 to 6 feet is the colon, but
Right.
the small intestine can be 20 feet.
Okay.
And you have apparently a very long colon.
Yeah. Yes.
And by the way, I just want to point out I'm wearing my splash shield because I was told I was going to be in the splash zone, and I could have gone all day without knowing that, Mark.
Sorry about
but
that,
thank
Katie.
you. Anyway, Erica, we'll come back to you when Harry's done and Mark is finished with the procedure and give you the final prognosis about how it went.
All right, sounds good. We'll check in with you then. But good to hear Harry say that he heard that everything looks good, and good to hear the doctor say that.